Okay, so today I want to talk about a game I'm developing. So most of you know my background was I was a professional poker player. I taught games for a living for many years. Was big into like Counter-Strike and Diablo when I was younger. I don't play games as much now. Once in a while I will. I find them to be very therapeutic in the sense that like when I'm watching a movie, I might not be fully present. I might be like on my phone or whatever. Like games lock you in. You can't do anything else but that game. But I've also loved board games and everything from my favorite form of game is a branch of gaming called social deduction games. This is games like Mafia, Avalon, The Resistance. These are all games you can look up, and they're basically games where you play with like 6 to 12 people, and usually someone's like bad and someone's like good, and it's your job to figure out who's bad and who's good. So one of the things that I've always wanted to do is do like a non-verbal analysis of social deduction games. So I've been thinking about this for about, I want to say 3 to 4 years, and I think this is like my side and all the things that I do. This is kind of like a fun little side thing, but I'm creating a game that is about the projective aspect of personality. So that's the first part of it. And what that basically means is like there's two types of psychological testing largely. I mean, there's more, but like projective and objective. So like a projective test is something like it's where you project an aspect of your personality or your perception or how you're interpreting things onto a neutral stimulus. So for example, like these are things like the thematic apperception test or like the tree test, where like I can show you a picture of a guy and a girl having a discussion, and I can say to you like, what's going on in this picture? And you can say, well, the guy is giving his secretary information, and it's like, interesting, like you have that bias towards gender roles because there's nothing to indicate that this woman is this guy's secretary. And it just sort of shows you, it gives you a glimpse to how you see the world. And I've always found those tests so cool and so fascinating. And some of it's a little bit, I don't know, a little bullshit at times, I think. But I think as a tool and as a game and it's fun, it's really cool. So there's that aspect of it. And then there's an aspect of deception. So this is where at any given time, certain people can be lying in the game, and you have to figure out sort of who is and why they're lying and so on and so forth. And then the third aspect is really the deduction, right? So trying to figure out which projection is aligned with each person and who's potentially lying. And there's going to be like rounds, and there's going to be like it's going to be cool. Now, the most effective way I can make this game is with iPhones. So like, 8 people sit around and they all use your phone. They all use their phones to play the game. The only problem is I want to make it a board game so bad, because I just love making things no matter what it is. And I want to make something like physical. Like I love everything in the digital space. I love in the digital world. The fact that this is all like essentially, bits of data is so cool and amazing. But also like, I want to be able to disconnect from those devices and use an actual physical thing. But that's where the constraint is. So it could be a really exceptional game if I make it on the iPhone or any device, because I don't want to ruin it completely because there's certain aspects they're figuring out. But I'll tell you, I'll just tell you. So basically, there's a period where you have to write something down. So you have to write everything out. In a board game format, it's annoying because if you would have to write everything out, it would ruin the game because you could process the handwriting. Like you'd be able to see what someone's handwriting is. All right, like after a couple of rounds, oh, this is John, or this is Mike, or this is whatever. With the iPhone, it would eliminate that aspect. So it would make it a hell of a lot cooler. So I've been thinking a lot about this. One of the things I'm going to do is I want to like throw like a pretty cool event where I'm just going to have a bunch of people come in and play the game, probably in New York and Vegas. So I'm going to make the first beta. But it's about reading behavior. It's about psychology. It's about deception. It's about interpretation. It's about personality assessments. It's about your ability to conceal your own behavior. I mean, it's just really cool. And I've been thinking about it for quite a bit. I'm just making this video to sort of let you guys know, everybody watching this, that I'm moving on it. I'm moving on the game, and it's exciting. And also, this is I'm not trying to get rich. I'm not trying to make a ton of money or anything like that. I just want to create something that's like in my field, and maybe we'll have like an international tournament or something like that. We'll put a bunch of money up top and like make it like a cool sort of thing inside the circle. So yeah, just wanted to discuss that. For my random ending today, I got this game recently called Moonraker, I think it is. And I swear, man, some of these board games, it's fun. Like now what board game manufacturers are doing is it's not just like they're making up a random board game. Like they'll make up a game and they'll make it in theory, and then they'll run like simulations. Like they'll do like almost like Monte Carlos, which is when you just run something over and over and over again. And they do it on their game, so they can see. It's like a really interesting data-driven way of creating games that I don't think they did this with like Monopoly, you know? Like I don't think anybody was like building out an algorithm in like the 50s or 40s or whenever Monopoly was created to sort of dictate like what are the amount of rolls and da-da-da-da. But now like there's this really cool, robust approach to making games that I really feel like, you know, a board game that has that approach, the depth of the game becomes so cool. And as a gamer and somebody who like loves figuring things out, like that's the first thing. Like, as soon as I sit down and I'm playing a game, it's like, how do I beat this game? Like, what are my opponents not going to be good at? What are my strengths and weaknesses? What are their strengths and weaknesses? Like, how can I develop a strategy right now and implement? Like, that's exactly what's going through my head as soon as I first play it. And what's so cool is these games have so many layers to them that like even though I'm creating sort of an elemental or basic strategy, I know for a fact that like I'm only scratching the surface of what is actually possible in that dynamic. I just found that to be so cool. So yeah, like any of you know any board games, please let me know. If you're interested in my game, I'll let you know about it. I'm excited to sort of just informally announce something I've been working on. But that's about it. I'll see you next week.